What's up YouTube, it's YG and today I'll be showing you guys my Shark Ryzeal deck profile that I came 12th place at the Penrith Regionals. Make sure to like, subscribe and hit the notification bell. Let's get right into the deck profile. So let's start off with the main deck. I'm on 3 copies of Surfacing Big Jaws and 1 Drake Shark. So this is like the Shark engine for the Ryzeal deck. I was originally running 1 copy, but Trif Gaming made a deck profile about it after the ban list, and unfortunately you need to run 3 now. Originally I wasn't gonna play this deck for the regionals as I only had 1 copy because I was playing with Bahamut Toad, the pre-version where you just run 1 each, but now you have to run the additional 2 copies to compensate for the loss in consistency, and it performed very well with the other non-engine cards, as most of your non-engine is board breakers in this variant. So you have 3 big jaws, and it's also an extender, so you get a free rank 4. Because what they do is this one specifies from hand if a spell card is active on the field. So even if your opponent activates a spell, you're still allowed to use it. So if your opponent like Cold White graves one of your cards in graveyard, you can go, okay, sure, you activate Big Jaws from hand, spell summon, and then you add Drake Shark. Drake Shark's basically like a poplar, and this is how you make free rank 4, as you don't have to use your normal summon. So that's it for the Shark engine. Next let's get into the Ryzeals. Around 2 copies of Sword Ryzeal, 2 copies of Ice, 2 X'd, and 1 Node. This one's extended from hand and search. The light powers, this one is E-Tele if you normal summon it, plus send 1 from hand for extender, and this one sends your XC's monsters for like Clipped Twins to Reborn or Aggregator to like negate for going second, and the Node of course is for extension and a Reborn. Fortunately they're semi-limited now, which I don't like, because I loved them when they were at 3, because now they're consistent. This deck is not as good as it used to be. It's very bad now. That's it for the Ryzeal main deck monsters. Next we get into the only hand trap I run. 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joy Spring. You have to run this still unfortunately, as you need a way to counter more Charmies, and they can also serve as board breakers going second, as you can hit cards like MTP07 in the Malice matchup, hit like Frost and Talents if you're going first and your opponent's running them, and can stop like an FTK deck possibly. So that's it for the main deck monsters. Next let's get into the spells. I'm running 3 copies of Ryzeal Cross. You have to run 3 cross now unfortunately. I used to only run 1 because I feel like it's a brick, but you have to run 3 because you want as many spell cards in your main deck to trigger your big jaws, 17 big jaws. And now because we're running semi-limited main deck monsters, you need to use like these for like fodder for your Ryzeal plugin, and this card can't recycle its own self, so it's kind of better to run 3 copies of it. Next we got the 7th engine, 3 copies of 7th Tachyon and 3 copies of Ascension. Basically this one searches this, and this one you reveal any of your numbers from 101 to 7, and you can add. So use this to reveal Ragnar 0, so you can add Surfacing Big Jaws. Meanwhile you also run Masquerade number 104, to add your Xed or Ice Ryzeal. You could also run the Archfiend Seraph, but you have to be running. But the only reason behind running that is if you want to have Lancia, and you can also run the Battling Boxer card if you like. But most of the time you're searching the lights anyway. So that's it for the 7th engine. So it's absolutely mandatory, you need these. Next we got sadly the one of Bonfire. Very good card. It's basically like Rhoda, officially, because now it's limited as well. Next we got Pour of Prosperity. You have to run this for your lost consistency. Although it kind of sucks in this deck as there's a combo where you can draw 7 cards. So you get to draw like 3 times, or like twice of one card and once of another card. So 3 Prosperity. Sorry, I said 1 Prosperity. Next for the other one-off spells around. Triple Tactics Talent. It's a board breaker and that's a one-off now because it's limited. Can fetch your draws if you get hand trapped. Can rip a card from your opponent's hand. And can take if you want to like OTK opponent. Second last one of a run is Ryzeal Plugin of course. Use this as part of your combo. You target like Ice or X, and then you attach one of the crosses to your dual drive. Last one of a run is Qualifier of course. You have to run this now, especially for like Drone Lockbird and Shifter, and also triggers your big jaws, so why not? The more spells have the better it is for this variant. Next let's get into the board breakers. Around 3 copies of Forbidden Droplet. Sadly only Secret Rhoda. I don't have my OTs yet. I'm gonna get them like probably like later of this year. So 3 Droplet. This is a part of your sets for going second, as you're gonna have like 1 rank 4 that's gonna do absolutely nothing on board after your turn. So you can just send that for the Droplet fodder, and this is also good for going second board breaking as well as triggering your big jaws. Next for the books engine, I'm running 3 Eclipse and 3 Book of Moon. But finally get to play with the OTs and the Super Rares was nice. So they serve as mostly as anti-hand traps, as you can use this for protecting your dual drive from like targeting cards like Veil Imperm, unfortunately, and Nibiru possibly, but unfortunately it does nothing against Ash Blossom and Purge, so you have to keep that in mind. It felt good to run these because I used the Eclipses and the books to like out like a lot of Fiendsmith decks, as they have Endon Caesar and maybe Desiree. So especially this one comes up because this one doesn't target. But I don't like this card when I'm going first, because when I use this they net like 1 to 2 or 3 draws possibly even, and you know I don't want to give them any pluses. So most of the time you only run this if you're going first, but I'm going second. You could take this out depending on what your opponent's end board is. If the deck's like full links, then please just take these out and put like the cards in the side deck. And another bad thing about this card is Ash Blossom. So 3 Book of Moon. And the last 3 spells around the main deck is Enemy Controller. So Enemy Controller is basically like a second, third and fourth Triple Tactics talent, as you can take control of your opponent's monsters with the same mentality as Droplet. where you send like one of your useless rank 4s. And it's like a weaker Book of Moon because you can like change the position, which I did in a game that I lost unfortunately. So that's it for the main deck, 40 cards. Now let's get into the extra deck. Around 1 copy of Detonator unfortunately. I wish it was still at 3. But now you have to play with 1 and you have to be very careful with it. Which is preferably why I played this board breaker variant instead of the hand trap variant. So my opponent's unicorn won't trigger to banish my 1-off. So I can just book it instead of going for second. So Detonator of course. 2 dual drive. You need 2 of course for the grind game, and you need it for like backup plan to add like another cross if your opponent gets rid of the one on your board. Next we got Zeus. Zeus is here for board breaking, as if you just go with the shark cards you can make extra knight, bait their negates and then attack. And if they like negate extra knight, it's like fine, just attack with extra knight and then you make this and then just use the board. I don't think you really need to run this one, to be honest. I think you can run like Stealth Kraken or Castell or something if you like, or maybe Cowboy. So I think this one's like a flex spot. Next we got Tornado Dragon. I'm running this basically for like back row decks. This one helped me for the Odeon Fiend Split matchup, as I'll get rid of like the continuous traps like the Apophis Swamp Deity or the Apophis the Serpent. It also came up against Malice for baiting out the back rows like TB11 or GWC to force it out before I make like dual drive or Banshee or Detonator, because you don't want to get rid of those. You want to bait out the interruptions first before you go for those lines. Next we got Evil Song Extra Knight. This card was MVP of the weekend. I broke a Striker Malice's board twice going second because of this card. And yeah, it's very good. And I think it's necessary to run this now, especially for like your board breakers plus this. It's too much. We got Infernal Flame Banshee. This is a new addition. So this one basically you detach the material from it, not a quick effect unfortunately. So they can like Book of Moon and on summon or like hard script through it. So this one you take a power monster and you add it to your hand. So in the combo with Big Jaws, you make this to add like X to ice. Next you got the other new edition, and this is like the one that's part of the drawing combo. Ujin Tate's Kuyomi. I picked this one up last week, first edition OT. So this one requires 2 level lights, which is why you're gonna reborn of plugin with like X to ice. So use Ice X XCs into this, and then this one basically is a non-once per turn, which is nice. So you loop it off Eclipse Twins, and what you do is you discard your entire hand and you draw 2 cards. Next is the other draw card, of course, number 62 Garrus. This one's alright. It's not as nice as it used to be back in the good old days when we had 3 each. And most of the time you're gonna prioritize making this over this, as this one's not once per turn. Next we got Aggregator. Of course this one's negating like Floodgate, problematic boss monsters on field by dumping off X Ryzeal. Next we got 2 Eclipse Twins. You have to run 2. I'm glad I ran 2 in the event because the second one came up a lot in the grind game, as I used it to reborn my Detonator. So it's very helpful. I honestly rather would have this banned and have let all the consistency not get hit. But I don't work for Konami, so I can't do anything about that. And the last 3 cards run is totally awesome. So this one, basically you're gonna abuse this card to recycle back your surface in big draws, so you can use the big draws as fodder for your Tsukuyomi, as this one's a non-once per turn add a water monster in the graveyard at your hand. Target water monster in the graveyard at your hand. And the last 2 cards are of course number 104 Masquerade and number 103 Ragnar Zero. This one of course is as a Tachyon target for 7th Tachyon target for Ice or X, and this one is for your 7 big shots. And this one you can also summon on board, which is nice, as it's a during other players' turn target 1 attack position once the opponent controls has different attack from its original attack, and you pop it and draw cards. So you always have this. So you have this and dual drive, which is pretty nice to pop and draw. So that's it for the extra deck, 15 cards. Next, let's get into the side. I'm running 3 copies of Cosmic Cyclone. This is like the difference between this one and I think this one, Tornado Dragon, is the only difference between the Trif list net deck, because I don't have a Stealth Kraken, so I just ran this instead because it covers like the back row matchups. This is also for like back row matchups, which is why I ran it. This was mainly for the Odin Fiendsmith matchup, as their Swamp Deities only activate during the main phase. So if your opponent like shotguns the Swamp Deity in your standby draw phase, because they could do it because they might be afraid of Harpy's Feather Dust style Lightning Storm. So I completely understand why they would do that. And you can also counter like decks like Unchained as well, as if you banish their target of the Shavara, it won't trigger their escape or chamber won't trigger because it gets banished instead. Also hits like Ryzeal Cross, can hit Malice and Underground if you're going first and you set them, but I'm probably not. I would never do that. But yeah, 3 Cosmic OT from OTS 7. Next, the other back remove run. 1 Harpy's Feather Dust and 2 Lightning Storm. So this is mainly for like back row matchups, and you can also run. It's probably highly recommend you run this Malice, because I'll explain later during the matchups why I should have put them in. So basically these are just for like back row decks, or decks that will put in back like strikes or judgments. So for like the mirror match and Malice. Formed well. Next we got 3 copies of Evenly Matched, of course for back removal, and any deck that doesn't have any Omni negates. So like the mirror match. So that's it for the back removal cards around. The last 6 of course is the Solemn Brigade, except warning, 3 strike and 3 judgment. Just recently picked up the judgments, already had the strikes from long ago. Very nice ultis. This one's from OTS 4. And this one's from ODS 12. Glad I finally acquired these in English. I had a friend who has Germans, but I didn't want them because I wanted English. Apparently I used to have these in French, but I don't remember who I sold them to. So it was pretty weird because I checked my Facebook wallpaper pick, and apparently it had like foreigns of these, but I have no idea what I did with this. So yeah, free strike, free judgment. You put these in for going first, of course, so you side out your enemy controllers and droplets for these more powerful ones, and you keep the books in. So yeah, strikes and judgments, very good cards. You need them because, especially judgment, because the main strategy of this variant is to have like dual drive detonator plus like 5 back rows. So you really need these for countering it. I kind of want to run Iron Thunder instead of this, but the problem with Iron Thunder is you have to like pop the row. It was negated, so it has some confliction with that. And this is like your first, second, and third core bar grave, so you got like an extra 3. Yeah, free strike and free judgment. I think I'll show you guys like just like 2 combos with the new way to play it, and it's just new token. So we're just gonna do a 5 card sample hand. Let's try the 1 card Big Jaws. So we're just gonna assume this is a hand to trigger like Big Jaws. So you're gonna start off with activate 7 Tachyon, reveal Ragnar 0, add to your hand Big Jaws, and you're gonna put back like cross. Next you're gonna trigger Big Jaws from hand since the spell card is activated. Effect of Big Jaws. Add Drake Shark, effect Drake Shark. Next you're gonna exceed these 2 into our new arsenal. The Banshee, you're gonna activate Banshee effect, detach, add X Ryzeal, then you're gonna use X Ryzeal here to dump Totally Awesome. This is genius. When I was first looking at it, I was like, why is he playing fucking Toad? I was like, what the hell? And then now I'm like, alright, yeah, I completely understand. Chain 1, chain 2 target. We add back the Big Jaws. Add Sword Ryzeal. Spirit Summon Sword. Effect of Sword. Add Ice Ryzeal. I like playing it safe, so from here we're just gonna make dual drive, because I have a beta to nib before summon ice. So we're gonna use dual drive effect, and we're gonna detach X and Banshee, so we can save the dual drive. So you're gonna you're gonna add cross and plug in. So even if they try to B-steal your X Ryzeal, you can just use cross and negate because you already have. It's crazy. So you activate cross. Normal summon ice. Effect of ice. Summon out Node Ryzeal. Next you're gonna activate plugin. Target X. And then you're gonna attach the cross to your dual drive. Next you're gonna shuffle a deck because you're gonna start drawing. Just keep the big draws. So you're gonna set free, and we're gonna Xyz these two into a new addition for the deck. Regenerate Tsukuyomi. Then we're gonna use Tsukuyomi's effect. Detach X. Discard the big draws that were added off Toad, and we draw 2 cards. It's crazy. Next we're gonna Xyz these two. Into Eclipse Twins. Next you're gonna use Node Ryzeal. Dump the Eclipse Twins to grave, and you're gonna target your ice. Then you're gonna use the Eclipse Twins effect in grave. Target the Tsukuyomi and the Toad because it's 4 lower with different names. Then you're gonna lastly you're gonna Xyz these two. To Detonator. Effect Detonator. You're gonna obviously attach your Eclipse Twins. Next you're gonna set your Book of Moon. And we're probably just gonna activate Ascension here, because we already used Tachyon this turn, and we also want to lower our chances of drawing a Tachyon. Give it a cut. Next we'll use the Tsukuyomi, of course. Discard the Tachyon in the hand, and then we draw 2 cards again. Nice, we got another big jaws, plus we're gonna activate the awesome engrave to target either big jaws or Drake Shark. I think better off just get the Drake Shark because we have big jaws. It's up to you if you don't want to do that. Most of the time I just get the big jaws back if I don't have big jaws, but I feel like in this turn we don't have big jaws, so it's like why not? Because if we draw like Tachyon Ascension, we can just put this back and then we can trigger this to add it again. And lastly we're going to use Cross to target Plugin and X, and we're going to draw a card. We drew Prosp, so whatever. It's enough anyway. So you got your Book, Econ, Book, Droplet, Drake Shark, Ash. So this is like fodder, so you can use Controller, Tribute, Take, use Droplet, use the one you took, and then negate. and you also got books and ash. This is too much. I'll show you one more combo. And for this example, let's say we only open big jaws. And we're just gonna use ashes as like, so let's say we've got X and big jaws, and we've got 3 ashes that are like random cards that we can't use this time. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna start off with, of course, X Ryzeal, and you're gonna pitch your Totally Awesome, because it's gonna come up later for when you're gonna recycle your big jaws. You pitch Toad, summon X Ryzeal, effect of X Ryzeal, so even if they negate it, you can just normal summon big jaws. And you got effect of add sword, special summon sword, effect of sword, add ice. Next we're gonna exceed these two. So dual drive, effect of dual drive. You're gonna add here, of course, plug-in and cross, because this is how you're able to trigger big draws, and we wanna use the Ice Ryzeal last. So you're gonna activate cross here. Then you're gonna so that's first, right. So you're gonna activate big jaws here. You're gonna affect big jaws. You're gonna affect big jaws to add. Gonna add Drake Shark, and then you're gonna go channeling on Drake Shark. And since this is your 4th, you're gonna play around it from there by activating plugin here, targeting your X Ryzeal. Unfortunately, you have to, because this is the only way you can get into Tachyon. So you're gonna summon it here, and then you're gonna attach your cross to your dual drive. Your Drake Shark. Next we're gonna exceed these two into the Garis. But before we use it, we're gonna normal summon Ice Ryzeal and then use Ice Ryzeal effect to special summon Node. We're gonna use the Garage effect first, since our hand is 3 monsters. And it's better off if we get rid of those 3 monsters, because if we go for the Tachyon here, we have to discard the entire hand. So you're gonna use the Garis, draw to discard 1, draw Droplet and big jaws. I'm gonna put big jaws to grave. We're gonna set the Droplet. Then we're gonna exceed these two. For Tachyon, effect of Tachyon, discard your entire hand. So yeah, discard the ashes unfortunately. And draw 2. Drew Prospin Book. Next to X is these 2. Into Eclipse Twins. Then you're gonna use Node. Send your Eclipse Twins for cost, and you're gonna target your sword. Then you're gonna use Eclipse Twins again. Target Skiyomi and not Big and Toad. So right here. Use set first. Then use Skiyomi. Discard Prosperity. Draw 2. Set the Eclipse. Then we're gonna use Cross. Target the X. Sorry, target the Ice. And X. Draw card. Draw Cross. We just X's here. For Detonator, use Detonator to attach your Eclipse Twins. And this is it for your end board. You're gonna have Book, Droplet, Eclipse, plus Cross and Tachyon, which is, you already have like guaranteed follow up now, which is great, as you can't draw anymore because of Dugaris. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the 2 new combos you have. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the deck profile. Let's just talk about the matchups I had last Sunday at Penrith Regionals. So I came 12th place. So first round was Unchained Fiendsmith. I went into time, luckily, because it was gonna start comboing off. Game 1 was a grind game, and he just scooped, and I was like, oh no, but the thing is, he was out of resources, luckily for me. Game 2, he went first, and then I broke his board, and he drew into Frost because he baited me out, and then he was about to start like trying to like kill off my board, but problem is time was called for him, so luckily I managed to win that. Match 2 was Odeon Fiendsmith. I won the Darrow and I made the full like Dugaris Bujinte draw combo, and I had like the full board, so there was no way he was coming back from that. Game 2, he went first. I broke his board, and I was cooking, and he just scooped because he knew it was gonna take a long time for me to make the full board. Match 3 was another Unchained Fiendsmith. He 4-lost me, and I played well into the 4, and I managed to win that game, luckily. And then round 2 of that game, he made the end board. The end board is similar to my first match, but unfortunately I screwed up the play, so I just skipped that game because I played wrong with my board breaking sequency, which is gonna happen because like I haven't been playing any board breaker variants for like quite a long time, because mostly I just play hand traps, like 15 to 21 usually. So it's like a different way of playing Yu-Gi-Oh for me. And then game 3 of that round, unfortunately, I bricked only non-engine. So I'll just keep like trying to stop his stuff with my non-engine, but unfortunately he had too much gas for me, so I ended up losing that game. Because like the only like name I drew was the plugin, and the rest was like solemns, droplets, enemy controllers and stuff. So that's it for that game. So I have X1 at that point. Round 4 was Crystron. He 4-lost me. I think he either draw or 4-lost me. Yeah, I think it was 4-lost. So I made a weak board. He dropleted me. He tried to go to battle phase, but unfortunately he already called end phase, so I had to tell him about that. So I ended up saving my own detonator. And then game 2 of that game, I screwed up the board breaking sequencing again. So I scooped that, and then game 3 he had Ash Nib. So it's literally on a top decking situation, because I had no other follow up, and if the top deck I had was an engine piece, I was gonna lose that match. But luckily I top deck X Ryzeal. It's very good for follow up. So I ended up dumping like twins because I had a nib token and I couldn't search. So I pitched twins effect, reborn the detonator, and I already had a strike set because he was contemplating whether or not to Nibiru. And then I attacked for the game and he showed me he had nib after, and it just showed him I had strike anyway, so it didn't matter. So I was 3-1 at that point. So round 5 was Malice Striker. He won the Daro. It was very spicy. He had like Heat Code of Soul to like make Heartscript in my turn. Plus he had the Heat Soul for drawing, and I managed to break the board, which is crazy. And the problem is for his variant he uses a lot of his life points because he has to have Code of Soul on top of that. So in like our second game, because he lost that game, so the second game he ended up doing the same combo, and so the first game he ended up using too many life points because Code of Soul and stuff, so he wasn't able to use any of his Malice names for the grind game, so they ended up saving me. And then game 2 he did the exact same problem he did for the first game, because even when we went to time he could only gain like 3,100, and he was already on like 3,000 or something. So luckily I won that match because of time, because that deck is scary. And it was also scary as when I was versing it in the YCS, as that deck had so much gas. So that was round 5. Round 6 was another Malice, but this one was Malice Bestial. Game 1 I tried breaking his board, but he unfortunately had every answer. He even had, so I played through the impulse, but the problem is he drew an Ash off his white binder, and that was like game over for me. Game 2 he made an incorrect play with Metatronus, and he was like nah, let's just go to game 3 because he didn't want to drag the game. So game 3 he went first. He made like 4 cards pass. I only had like 1 fire and like 5 non-engine cards, and this is when the problem started. because he destroyed my one non-engine piece, and I ended up just not drawing any like engine, and he had like a ball trick, and I tried to like protect my own life points, and it wasn't enough. So that's like the one part where I incorrectly sided, because I kept in the books. I think for that matchup I should have just put in like the back removal cards like strike evenly instead of the books, because like these link decks, it's better off put back removal, because like lightning storm can still like out like the links, meanwhile the books can't. So that was another problem I had. So that's like the other loss I had in the tournament. And my last match was Worcester's voice. I think my opponent was new to the deck, because like he made like few errors. Like he held on his Saravis for quite a long time, and he didn't use his Trif Hierarchia when I tried to pop his Herald Diviner off my Detonator. So that's it for my matchups. I was 5-2, and I came 12th place, and luckily for me, top 14 was getting an invite for the Oceanics, because we had 40 more players for this event. So I finally got my invite for Oceanics, which is great. Unfortunate that I bricked those 2 games that would have mattered tremendously, because I could have walked away with a playmat or possibly a deck box, but you know, it's whatever, because like I wasn't gonna play this deck originally, because luckily I was gonna play either Primite Blue Eyes or Fiendsmith, Odeon, Cashier 60 cards, but like with like complete like different non-engine to what the runner-up was running. As I wouldn't run Nibiru's, I'd run like Mourners or Bells or something, because I don't want to have the confliction Nibiru and the Cashier monsters, as I had to suffer from that issue during States last year. So I spent like 4 hours like trying to learn the combos and making like the deck list, so it's nice. And I managed to get involved with a deck that I did 0 practice with for this new variant. So yeah, shoutouts to Trif Gaming. I'll put the link below the description for his replays and his deck profile, so make sure to watch it, as he goes into way more depth than what I'll do. So make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.